All my life I've seen permed hair, straightened hair, and I was taught not to really love my hair. And I think the fact is we should learn self-love, and I think that's what's part of this natural community. And I think we should just take advantage of loving ourselves.
That the concept of Black Power first came out in 1966 with the Meredith March on Mississippi. The concept had actually been bantered around a lot prior to the march, but and honestly, Dr. King wasn't real thrilled with the concept. He thought it was a little radical, a little out there. And bottom line is the young folks just decided to bring it up in the middle of the night. There was a time, and I happened to be there. We were in Grenada, Mississippi. The entire family went down for that. And the school board had said they could have a meeting at a destination. And then they denied it. And so here were all these people that don't have a place basically to lay their heads and so forth. And cops came out, tear gas. So there's a picture in Eyes on the Prize, the video, where you see my dad, Stokely Carmichael, Martin Luther King, and a bunch of people on top of a U-Haul truck with the tear gas flying all around. And that's sort of the beginning of, what do we want? Power. What kind of power? Black power. And it just took on its own life from there. Now, how does that relate to the natural movement? Because at the same time, we're also hearing, a little bit later, James Brown say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. We also have Muhammad Ali talking about, I'm a pretty black man, look at me. And it's something that, quite frankly, we as a black people really hadn't seen. Because all we see is like James Brown on TV on the Ed Sullivan Show and a couple of things like that. So it was a different perspective on being black, and that our showing our blackness on the outside by wearing our natural.
Oh, I feel weird this time in your hair.
No, it's great. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Thank you.
I know that's like a cultural thing, and I know like there's the whole idea of like some people ask you really awkward questions about your hair.
Yeah,
like I have a friend whose daughter is half black, half white, and she gets lots of comments about her hair.
I was a web basic training. They saw my hair, and they was the girls were looking at me. Mostly the Caucasian girls who didn't know. They were like, "Hutchinson, does your hair ever get straight?" I'm like, "Yes." I was like, "It might take a while, but it gets straight." They're like, "How?"
Well, how do you curl your hair?
Right.
You have to use stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have experienced the most discrimination within the African American community, starting with my own family, who A, couldn't realize why would I take the relaxer out. That was the first thing. Then B, like, why would you be faded? You know, my father was like, I don't get that, because usually women have hair. My mother's like, everyone's gonna think you're a lesbian, you know. So I got all kinds of things. And then when I locked, nobody said anything. It's like, you know, going home with like platinum blonde hair and no one says anything. But I mean, it wasn't platinum blonde, it was just the baby locks, and everybody just didn't acknowledge it. I'm sure they talked about me when I left. But then when it got longer, it was almost like, is that your real hair? Is that really your hair? It was almost like they just would not believe that it was my hair.
I believe our culture does. I don't know, I guess it's they have certain images of what people should, or what women in particular should look like versus what they shouldn't look like, and I guess they would have to be educated more on what it means to really be natural.
Do I touch my hair?
Yeah, because people have questions about natural hair.
Yeah, my hair's really fine, so I don't have like the same kind. Like you have good volume in yours. See,
it's really thick.
but yours is like all combed out too.
Yeah, I just combed it this morning.
So.
I had to tame the beast. Like, I had to tame the beast.
Like you woke up, we all have like different stuff, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody has the same type of hair texture, the same type of curl pattern, the same, you know, follicles or anything in their hair. And people wonder why everybody's hair is so different. That's basically why, like, nobody's hair is the same. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're blood related. No one's hair is the same. Me and my sister, same blood type, different hair. Like,
I know, the same.
It's funny, but that's just how it is. I don't know. I don't never understand.
And everybody just needs to embrace and love their hair. Because like when you're younger, like you have some friends and you're like, their hair is so pretty, or it's so straight, or it's so curly. And you're like, isn't my hair more like that?
And I used to do that a lot.
And then you're like, you know what? At least I have hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's my husband. He just
It's like a little, chihuahua. I don't know, but you know what? Guess who can't see it? Guess who doesn't know he's bald? Because I'm not looking in the mirror.
Oh, that's so
I know. So, that's why I got a hat on. That's for skin cancer.
That's right. That's right. Well, I hope you
Don't
guys
have the
get,
melanin.
Because it's really important to be out here and do this because people, they see it. We're all people. You know? So, we're all different, thank goodness, because that's what makes the world go around.
Exactly. Nobody should ever be the same.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's all we can be is our best selves.
Exactly.
And nobody else can be like
Not since I've had locks, and no, I remember one time when I was in graduate school, I did have a friend who was white, and I think maybe I had some lint in my hair, and at that time it was like faded, and she did like kind of get it out, and as she was touching it, she was like, oh, your hair is really soft, almost like she was really surprised, like maybe she had just been craving to do that, but then that piece of lint was the thing that gave her the permission. But overall, I don't think I've experienced that. However, my daughter, who is in a school that has more white people than people of color, says she deals with that all the time. So she's like, I'm gonna just start hitting them. And I was like, well, let's not hit them, but let's just be very clear, like, don't touch my hair. You need to ask permission. And I think it is kind of curious that I can't think of anybody whose hair I would just go up and touch, and why usually it's white people who feel like they have permission to touch without even having to ask.
People do come up to my hair all the time. Sometimes they touch it without me asking. Sometimes they do ask before they touch it. It's just all about, I guess, like how they do it. And then the whole talking, like, yeah, they'll do, but sometimes I'll just turn around and be like, oh, thank you. Because sometimes they'll say, like, oh, her hair is pretty. Or, like, when they touch it just at a randomness, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so soft. And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch it without asking. I'm just like, oh, no, you're fine. As long as you're not cutting it, we're good.
Well, for most people that approach me, we normally engage in conversation. They ask about the stuff that I use or how long I've been natural, but most of the time they ask before they touch. But I don't really have a big issue with people, just randomly touching it, just to, see how it feels. As long as they don't be pulling my hair or doing nothing aggressive, I don't really make it a big deal.
It really was a movement to embrace who we are as we are. So that's when you saw afros, and just sometimes people change their names, but it really was kind of a coming to terms as a community as a whole to really examine who we are in terms of identity. And that definitely influenced it. I think during that time, maybe in the 70s, it might have been seen as a fad, whereas, and I think to some extent there are some fad-ish things about locks and natural hair now, but I definitely see a lot more women making a commitment just to be natural, more than just a hairstyle. So it's more of a lifestyle.
Is it a hair conversation?
Yes.
Is this like good hair?
Well, it's like what we're doing basically. We're letting people like feel our hair to see what their reaction would be, because a lot of people don't know what natural black hair feels like, especially if they're not used to the culture. So we're just letting people feel our hair so they can see the difference between our hair and their hair.
Oh, I take that. Oh, that's so soft.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah.
So my friend Stella, who's an African American woman, we've been friends for a long time. She likes to wear wigs, and she likes to wear, what are those things called?
Oh, tracks.
Weaves.
Weaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weaves.
Yeah, which really is.
Yeah.
Well, those actually help women with hair growth as well. I
But
think we're
it's
the way
less
at the door,
tension.
you guys.
Oh,
That actually helped women with hair growth too, because the way that we get them, and we get them sewn in, because we get our hair braided. So the fact that our hair is braided under the weave, the braid system is helping our hair grow.
Yeah,
Really?
and also and less heat damage, less messing with it. Of course, less time you mess with it, the less time it just breaks. So
another thing people don't know, with your hair being in the cornrows, it's going to get dirty, so it's going to start itching. Dirty hair grows faster than clean hair.
hey, if you realize that,
I don't know, a lot of people don't notice that, but when your hair, when you go wild, like with like weaves and stuff like that, and you don't get to wash your actual hair and your roots, dirty hair grows a lot faster than clean hair does. Yeah.
Oh.
I guess to be natural means just to be who you are. Like, you hear that a lot. People be like, let people just be themselves. So I think natural is a way that people can express who they are and what they like to do with their hair.